Everyone present here.
This call is now being recorded.
I'm Srihari Prahalad, and I welcome you all to the Girl Geeks program, a flagship workshop event being conducted on 4 consecutive Saturdays by the IEEE CS chapter BMS IT&M in collaboration with the IEEE CS Bangalore chapter. I cordially invite all the participants, faculty coordinators, and the guest speaker to the third event of the Girl Geeks program. Before we get on with the third track, that is research challenges in cloud security and trust management, I request Dr. Anjan Krishnamurthy sir, Department of CSE BMS IT, to share his thoughts on the event. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Srihari. On behalf of management of BMS ITM and on behalf of all the individuals who are here, I wholeheartedly welcome Dr. Nagaraj GS, Professor and Associate Dean, Department of CSE, RV College of Engineering, for this wonderful session. I am very happy to say this. This is the second version of the Girl Geeks program which is happening in our campus. Amidst the pandemic also, and during this kind of a challenging time also, we are pursuing this particular program with a greater seriousness. And I heartily congratulate Dr. Sunanda Dikshit for taking it up and taking it so seriously and doing it. And this has been a flagship program for IEEE Computer Society chapter in our BMS IT student branch. So as what we have already seen, the need for this Girl Geek program and the way in which the program should have been done, it is completely done in that particular way itself. So the name of the program also suits this particular scenario, basically because we are trying in an era wherein which education and quality of education needs to be improvised with lot of professional activities, and the standard of education also needs to be enhanced. And with the context of national education policy which has come in, where all the colleges are striving hard to make things much better, and I think this is a very well opportune to all of us to have this kind of a program for us. And I hope all the participants of this particular Girl Geeks program do take a benefit of this and take it with utmost seriousness, because all the speakers what we have are having for last 4 sessions, last two sessions, are very experienced speakers, and also experienced speakers are also there for this particular sessions, coming sessions as well. I hope participants take it in a very great spirit and learn few things which are related to it, and give a better outcome to society and better outcome to the nation in the coming days. And people are expecting you to do good work, and I hope such kind of platform do facilitate you to do some higher learning, right, higher project works, right, higher work related to the societal work, things like that, which are required attributes of today's world, right? And I wholeheartedly congratulate the entire team for organizing this particular event and asking me to give a small note for today's session. And it also happens to be a great opportunity talking in front of my teacher, Dr. Nagaraj GS, who was my teacher during my UG studies. It gives me a great privilege and opportunity to welcome him and also to talk to him. Sir, welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, all of you.
Yeah.
I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Anjan sir, for your wonderful thoughts on the event. Your presence is greatly appreciated. So last week in the Girl Geeks program, we had a talk on cloud computing and distributed healthcare. And before that, we also had a talk on containers. So right now we know what is cloud computing and basics of cloud computing. So today we'll have a deep dive into the research field associated with cloud computing with a talk on the research challenges of the cloud security and trust management. So over to Akshat for a brief introduction of our guest speaker, Dr. Nagaraj GS, Dean of Department of CSE, RV College of Engineering. Over to you, Akshat. Thank you.
My name is Ashish Sharma, and Dr. Nagaraj is a professor and associate dean of the Department of Computer Science in RV College of Engineering. He has an outstanding experience of 26 years in teaching and 16 years in research in various fields like computer architecture and computer networks. and has even guided 5 PhD and 5 research scholars under VTU. He has undertaken and completed many GATE projects which were sanctioned by UGC and VTU and National Institute of Advanced Studies (IASC). He has published 5 research papers in book chapters, 58 papers in international journals, presented 34 papers in international conferences and 22 papers in national conferences. Cisco even presented an advanced level instructor excellence recognition for his contribution to the Cisco Networking Academy program. We are very fortunate to have him here. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for your brief introduction. I take it this is a good opportunity to me to share my few thoughts on research challenges in cloud computing and trust management. And also, I take it this is an opportunity to interact and say thanks to my ex-colleague, Dr. Anjan Krishnamurthy, and also, Dr. Sunanda Dikshit, right? She's always interacting with right IEEE CS chapter activities with this academic year. With this note, let me start my presentation. I guess I'm audible to all of you. In case if any issues, because I'm not using any additional, there will be an accessories. Please let me know even if there is any issues with the network. Right, you can interrupt me in between also. And even you have any clarifications, right, while explaining me, you can ask me a question, or else we will take up the question and answer session at the end of my talk. I think with this small note, I'll start sharing my presentation slides to all of you. Is it okay to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. I'll start sharing it. My slide is visible?
Yes, sir.
I'll switch off my video also because I'm using wireless internet, right? Due to that, I'll switch off my video as well. Yeah, my topic of presentation is research challenges in cloud security and trust management. If you look at this topic, you have 3 important words in it. One is research, the another one is cloud security, and the last one is trust management. I guess all of you, one or the other way, we are all involving with research activities. First and foremost, we need to understand that what do you mean by research is? Research is basically a study of a particular domain of problem using scientific methods. Secondly, we have cloud security. Cloud security is very essential because the data complexity in the present context is much more. We are getting a data and storing a data in a cloud. Unless you are not secure your data, it may going to become a very big threat to all of us. Hence, cloud security is needed. And lastly, the trust management, wherein we are talking about here, there are service providers and users, wherein users are trying to access your data, right, with the support of the service providers. Hence, lacking trust between service providers and cloud users has thrown number of challenges to all of us. Hence, the trust management is also very essential. With this, let me move on to the next slide. My topic of presentation includes introduction to the Debian cloud computing. I guess I'm going to skip that because you've already come across of these things. Okay, but I just go through some of the slides, whatever I have prepared. The second point is the Debian cloud computing security, research challenges, trust management, and lastly, there will be a summary. I called it as in dimensions of the Debian cloud computing, followed by references. The most important aspect of my presentation is research challenges and trust management, along with the Debian security aspects. I guess all of you are very familiar with the Debian cloud computing, right? I'll just skip this slide straight away. This is one particular slide talk about that, right? Everyone is trying to use the available resources one or the other way to store, process, and retrieve your data as per your need. You can just define cloud computing in many ways. I'm not going to talk about much towards it. I'll just skip this. Moving on to the next one, it is our responsibility to understand that why the cloud computing is essential, because we have come across many more computing techniques, paradigms, which includes autonomic computing, client server model, grid computing, mainframe computer, utility computing, peer-to-peer, and virtualization. Look at this. One or the other way, all these technologies were used and we are going to use it in future also for our application need. But as and when you use all these technologies, once the data is going to be dumped into a cloud, right, our essence is very much required on the Debian cloud computing usage, access, security aspects of it. That is what is the focus is. With this, we need to understand there will be the goal of cloud computing as well. The first one is to allow users to take maximum benefits from all of these technologies without the need of deep knowledge about or expertise with each one of them. That's the first goal. Secondly, you can reduce the Debian cost and help the users focus on their core business instead of being impeded by IT obstacles. You can just talk about your own way about the goals of the Debian cloud computing as in when you started working with a specific problem. Okay. Let me highlight the service models which are available. As you are aware of it, that is in SaaS, PaaS, there is an infrastructure as a service. The another one is there will be in CAS, there's in containment as a service and network attached as a service. Okay. Apart from that, you have there will be different deployment models. I guess all of you are very familiar with these things. It's in private cloud, community cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. And its essence also you must understood as in when you are moving towards the Debian research applications with respect to different services. I think some of the service providers I have summarized for your understanding. I guess you can
Sir, very sorry to interrupt you. Sir, the slides are not visible in the full screen mode actually.
Yeah, just I'll. Is it visible now?
Yeah, now it is visible, sir.
Yeah. These are all the other, cloud service providers. I think, you've already come across of these things. I'll skip this slide also, to focus more on the Debian cloud security and research challenges. I guess this particular slide is essential to all of you because this talks about the ecosystem of industrial applications with respect to cloud computing, right? On the left-hand side, use for cloud computing operations, starting from personal cloud, public cloud, private cloud, and there's an hybrid cloud. On the right hand side, we have there will be different types of services, okay, which I have mentioned already in my previous slide. That is an infrastructure as a service, a platform as a service, then software as a service, and data as a service. Look at that. Each service are going to be well defined with very specific functionality and which are modeled in a cloud computer architecture. And these services are provided by different vendors. Okay, I think you can just talk many more things related to that. But how effectively we are going to use these things is the question. Because as I mentioned that, as and when we move on to a specific application, our challenges are not going to remain same. These are diverse in complexity. Hence, right, fine tuning each and every design aspects of your problem definition is very much essential, along with the security aspects. I think this is the service models what we use it. I'm not going to talk about much, but we need to understood that what may be the right a stack layer we use in each case of cloud computing service model. When I'm talking about on-premise, this is a software which is installed and runs on computers on the premises of the person or an organization using the software, rather than at a remote facility such as a server farm, or there is a cloud farm that you can notice it on the left hand side. Subsequently, we have there is an infrastructure as a service which is managed by you and managed by the vendor as it is, which is indicated in red and there will be in blue colors here. Similarly, there is a platform as a service, right? You can just notice that how the your stack model grows as and when you move on to your software as a service. Yeah, this is the very basic architecture of cloud computing. We use it, right? At the bottom we have there will be an infrastructure as a service. I think you can just keep on adding your resources. When I'm talking about the resources, whatever we use it, right, in terms of there will be a physical connectivity, that is going to become your infrastructure, right? Maybe a server, maybe some a storage, maybe your workstations, desktops, whatnot. You can just keep on adding into it. Moving on to the next one, there is a platform as a service wherein you have there will be a number of tools which we can use it along with your operating system. Okay, so it again varies based on there will be the different types of services what we use it. So you can also think about there will be a database. You can also think about there will be a frameworks. You can also think about there will be middleware softwares which comes in. All of them comes under there will be a platform as a service. And lastly, use it and you are trying to connect to the cloud resources using your internet, where that's going to become a software as a service. Yeah, these are all some of the basic benefits what we get from there will be in cloud computing. It's a very preliminary information to all of you. I think I have shared the slides with you all, just for your information. I'm not going to spend any time towards it. I'll move on to the next one, but you must aware of it, what may be the benefits of cloud computing is. Similarly, right, it is your responsibility to understand some of the shortcomings we come across in case of there will be in cloud computing, right? First and foremost, the most important thing is it doesn't work well in low speed connections. This is one of the major issue in case of there will be a cloud computing. Unless your connections are not going to become strong, you may not be able to connect to your cloud resources even though you have enough resources with you. You have to ensure that how strongly you are connecting to your network is the major criteria. I think you can just go through it. Let me move on to the next important slide in my presentation, because as and when we move on, even though we talks about there'll be research challenges, we must understood what kind of features we get from there'll be cloud computing. Maybe this slide numbered very well, starting from there'll be 1 to right at 10. So on the left hand side, you have there's a resource pooling, right? I think I'm not going to spend on that. On demand self-service, easy maintenance, large network access, availability. The sixth one is automatic system, economical, security, pay as you go, and lastly there will be a measured service. So when I'm talking about a measured service, it's a term that IT professionals apply to a cloud computing. This is a reference to services where the cloud providers measures or monitors the provision of services for various reasons, including right your billing, right, or you may do any kind of effective use of resources and overall performance planning. All of them comes under the measured service. Even if I look at the eighth point here, there is a security. Even though we talk about a security in terms of the benefit, in terms of the limitation, in terms of the future of the cloud computing, why? The question is, your services are not unique for everyone, right? Or even if the service is unique, the way you do that service, right, is something different. Because of that, also you get there'll be a number of challenges while working with your resources. Hence, the security is very, very important component with respect to cloud computing. Yeah, this is where my exact right topic of presentation is. That is, lacking trust between service providers and cloud users has hindered the universal acceptance of cloud computing as a service on demand. I think all of you will agree with me, because as I mentioned already, you have number of services. When you started, working with number of services with the help of service providers, users, and cloud computing, resources, trust is very important. The trust being developed to protect mainly e-commerce and online shopping provided by many software vendors in the market. So what I'm trying to convey to all of you is that, the kind of trust models which are available currently in the market may not handle, right, the available services in the market. Okay, we need to look for there'll be more and more trust models. For web and cloud services, trust and security become even more demanding due to the internet services, security issues, data complexity, business use cases, and models. I think all of you will agree with me. When I'm talking about internet services, I think you can list out there'll be 1,000 of internet services. Security issues, again, it talks about there'll be various aspects. Then data complexity, this is where we are moving ahead in the present scenario, because of there'll be an IoT technology. Everywhere we are trying to deploy there'll be sensors, and we are collecting the data to analyze some predictions out of it, basically. So to give an example, to talk about this in data complexity, let us say in a metro cities, you want to analyze the data of a traffic, right? So we are trying to collect the data using the LBN sensors, and we are pushing that data to the cloud via the LBN LoRa gateways. So you can send a notifications once you get to know that what kind of traffic is there in across the LBN metro cities. Business use cases and models. That's the next point is. So when I'm talking about the business use cases, right, the use cases varies again, vendor to vendor, or there'll be customer to customer. So as a result of that, we need to develop some kind of there'll be trust management with respect to this and cloud security. That is what is the intention of my topic today to all of you is. Then cloud platforms becomes worrisome to many users of lack of privacy protection, security assurance, and copyright protection. Trust is a social problem in an internet environment, right? Because of there will be many problems, we can't leave, right? We need to go ahead with along with that. So if that is the case, we need to ensure that how the quality of privacy protection, security assurance, we need to improve upon, we need to look at. Lastly, in the latest virtual environment, the cloud poses new security threats at various levels. To solve these problems, research-based solutions are needed, along with the new data protection model in the cloud computing environment. So that is what is my giveaway to all of you, right? What is really required to address this? Let me move on to the next slide. That is, what is a cloud security? I think, so this is a very basic information to all of you again. I think one or the other way you have come across of it. So cloud security protects data stored in a cloud computing environments from theft, deletion, leakage, or maybe from your migrations, whatever it's so. In order to provide a security, so at your source, you can just think about these kinds of measures basically, but these measures are not good enough. You need to think about there'll be many more further. That is what is the intention of this talk is. Maybe the kind of protective methods we are using presently are access control, firewalls, penetration testing, obfuscation, virtual private networks, not using public internet connections, and there will be tokenization techniques. So I think you can able to understand each one of the meaning of that is. Let me move on to the next slide, right? If I look at the traditional IT security and the cloud security, you can see the first point. The traditional IT security is a slow scaling, but whereas the cloud security is a quickly scalable, right? You can expand your resources, right? And you can connect. There will be millions of users once you have there will be enough resources with you. Then traditional IT security provides lower efficiency, but whereas this provides there will be an efficient resource utilization. That's where the core concept of there will be in cloud computing is, right? Even though you don't have a resource with you, you can connect the other resources which are deployed somewhere else, and you can use it and you can pay for it. That's it. Then high upfront cost, whereas the cloud is there will be no upfront because you're using somebody's resource. Higher cost, obviously this side it is an lower cost, in-house data centers, and the cloud computing uses there will be third-party data centers. And lastly, we have longer time to market, whereas in case of the will be in cloud, there is a reduced time to market. I think these are all some of the very basic understanding we must aware of it. Let me move on to the security aspects or challenges in cloud computing, right? Various security issues possible in cloud computing, which are integrity, confidentiality, data access, data segregation, privacy, countability, and multi-tenancy. I think these are all some of the things which you are supposed to be follow it basically. If you give a chance to someone to modify your data, right? That's an unauthorized user, or if he is trying to disclose your data with someone else, then right, where is the question of there will be an your sensitive data which is stored in a cloud computing? It is a questionable, right? So that's a one thing. And also, right, if you are trying to share your login credentials with someone else, right, it is very difficult to look for there will be various challenges. You are going to get it from your computing process. Difficult to migrate. It is not easy to move applications from an enterprise to cloud computing environment on even within different cloud computing, because it is easy to say that we will share the resources. If the resources are not available, we are trying to migrate our application from one pool to there will be another pool. But what are the challenges you're going to be faced? We need to think about it. So that's where we are trying to talk about difficult to migrate. Internet dependency with respect to performance and availability, which includes cloud computing services. It relies fully on the availability, speed, quality, and performance of internet. And lastly, lack of control over resources. It concerns related to lack of physical control of data applications as well. I'm trying to talk about the various challenges in cloud computing. Let me move on to the challenges, why we need to address the challenges. Look at this, right? The research statistics gives you nearly 97% of the organizations uses cloud services which are of the type public, private, or maybe the combination of both. That's one thing. Secondly, right, everybody started using their own strategy. So that is nearly there is a 65%. And every organization anticipate decrease in cloud investment. Okay, that may be less than there will be 10%. Right, it may be going further, and 53% unauthorized access is happening even though you are providing there will be a lot of security, because you are not maintaining there will be trust management while accessing your resources. Then hijacking of there will be an accounts, however the security you provided, right, the hacker is trying to steal your data. Okay, that's the problem. Then insecure interfaces, or there is an application programming interfaces which you use it. Say this is the another important threat what we have it in case of there will be in cloud computing, because most of the time what will happen, we never go ahead with there will be a professional kind of applications or a software with us, right? So because of this, many interfaces may not be full-fledged to access the right kind of services. And lastly, external sharing of data. Many of them are trying to share there will be the data, and they're trying to maintain there will be more and more number of copies with them. So this is also another challenge which you're going to be facing. Yeah, let me focus on my topic, that is in research challenges. I think this is a very, very essential slide to all of you. You have there is many challenges. The first one is an automated service provisioning. Second one is virtual machine migration, server consolidation, energy management, traffic management and analysis, data security, software frameworks, storage technologies and data management. And lastly, we have there is a novel cloud architecture. Let me take up, there will be the first one, that is in automated service provisioning. When I'm talking about an automated service provisioning, where it does, there will be a number of tasks, which includes dynamic exchange of cloud users' request, large scale and complex nature of cloud system, scheduling tasks with guaranteeing QoS constraints, then dynamic successive allocation and dependent task. High performance computing applications requires ever increasing computational resources, because you use there will be in cloud computing resources, you should also have there will be in very high end machine with you. Otherwise it may not be possible to do all computing at your end. Hence you require there will be an high performance computing machines as well. Then allocate appropriate resource shares to services that have conflicting resource demands, and heterogeneous distribution of resources. When I'm saying heterogeneous distribution of resources, look at, say at your source, you may be using different machines, but as and when you started accessing the other end resources via there will be a cloud pool, there should be some kind of there will be compatibility along with your resources. Unless this is not going to be achieved, certainly you end up with some issues. I think whatever the point you have it here, each one is going to become one very specific problem, a research problem with respect to cloud computing. All of you can take it up, thus you can work on with respect to your mini project, major project, or maybe if you are really interested to work on with research oriented applications, take it up thus and start doing it. Yeah, then let me move on to the virtual machine migration. I think since the non-availability of sufficient resources in the cloud pool, migration is going to happen. That happens with the help of virtualization. Basically, virtualization is the ability to run multiple operating systems on a single physical system and share the underlying hardware resources. Is a very basic definition to all of you. Basically, it is a process by which one computer hosts the appearance of many computers. Then virtualization is used to improve IT throughput and cost by using physical resources as a pool from which virtual resources can be allocated. Then detecting hotspots and initiating a migration lacks agility to respond to sudden workload changes, because as in when you move on, right, if there is a workload balancing is not going to happen, it rather than right, utilizing the available resources, you may end up with many more challenges as well. So you need to look into it. Basically, that's where the research challenge is. In memory state should be transferred consistently and efficiently with integrated consideration of resources for application and physical servers. That is what is essential, right? The trusted computing base of a virtual machine is too large. That is the another, right, drawback what you have it in case of right, virtualization. Because the moment we talk about a memory state, right, so the kind of migrations never gives you, there will be in full details to, there will be users. So there is a very acute shortage in terms of there will be in storage space as and when we use it. So that's where the migration is also going to happen quite frequently during your process of operation. When I'm talking about a TCB is a small amount of software and hardware that security depends on, and that we distinguish from a much larger amount that can misbehave without affecting a security. And smaller the TCB is always good for your cloud resources, and it also requires there will be more and more security. Let me move on to the next slide. That is an server consolidation, wherein we are trying to categorize the server consolidations with two broader classification. One talks about static method. The another one talks about there will be a dynamic method. So when we talk about there will be a static method where your resources are going to remain same, which are fixed in nature, right? You have to use it, whatever it is available. You are not supposed to migrate from one platform to the another platform. That is the major issue which you face it. Whereas when you move on to a dynamic method, as this method is further categorized into there will be in three divisions based on periodic adaptation. So second one is based on threshold, and lastly using prediction based dynamic method. So as the name itself suggests that there is a dynamic method, you have a scope to improve upon, to use your resources right in a dynamic real-time conditions based on there will be the resources availability. But it shouldn't be too much of context switching during the process of your operation. If so, what will happen? Thrashing is going to be accurate. You need to prevent that, right? Because more and more context switching leads to there will be in thrashing. So we need to have some kind of there will be in threshold values for that. And also you can look for some kind of algorithms. Maybe you can bring in some kind of there will be machine learning algorithms to predict the exact performance, right, availability of the cloud resources, right, during the real-time situation. Accordingly, you can plan your next kind of task. Okay. Then research challenges in case of energy management, wherein we talk about with a number of parameters here. So one is energy metrics are not effectively measured, right? You can just see that. It goes nearly from 38 to there will be in 40%. Even though we talk about more and more number of resources are used, but once you deployed all of them at one particular site, a lot of power issues which you're going to face it. Maybe even if you visit, there will be a big organization like a Cisco or maybe HP, or it may be an IBM, whatever it so, right? You can understand, or it may be Facebook, okay, where they're trying to deploy. There will be their data centers, right, at very cool places. But even then, a lot of carbon dioxide is going to be generated because of there will be more and more number of data center as well. So due to that reason, these things are going to be deployed under the sea as well. Okay, that's one thing. Secondly, disparate systems and data sources. I think this is roughly there will be in 32. There will be in 32%, right? You need to think about there'll be various data sources which you use it. Then lack of culture supporting energy management. When I'm talking about culture supporting energy management, you need to look up in terms of there'll be compatibility issues with one another, right? Lack of visibility into performance. That is nearly 25 to there'll be 26 or some 27%. Then no formal process for continuous improvement, and lack of executive support, lack of collaboration across different departments, no formal process for managing risk, and lastly, we have difficulty in integrating with the grid architecture. So when I say all these points here, you need to look at how efficiently ensure to improve the right performance of your cloud computing in terms of there'll be an energy. That is what is the main focus is. Then let me move on to the next one, that is in traffic management. I think this is one case study rather than talking about there'll be various challenges relating to there'll be traffic management. I think if you look at the bottom left-hand side, so there is a environment wherein you have, there is an integrated ecosystems, number of sensors were deployed here, right? And also here there'll be sophisticated cameras where you can capture there'll be images from the existing traffic. So once you do that, then what will happen? You are pushing that data, right? To the cloud platform. So the platform what we use is there'll be a LoRa cloud platform. So the technologies there'll be in LoRa wireless communication, right? You can just build your methodology to implement this basically. Once the data is available in the LoRa cloud platform, some kind of there'll be an analytics is going to happen, right? So the analytics you can do it using there'll be machine learning algorithms. So you can go ahead with what do you call supervised, unsupervised machine learning algorithm, or else even you can go ahead with, if it's so complex, in case there'll be deep learning techniques as well. So once you use these algorithm for your data processing and to build a model and to train that, right, you can pass on that information to an intelligent traffic management
Yes,
system.
sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. I have a doubt. Could you repeat how the sensors will act, like the vehicle sensors will be received?
Yeah, which basically, if you look at this environment, integrated environment, wherein you have a data. Let us assume that your vehicle is moving on, correct? So with the with the help of, there is a GPS system, right? So this information is moving to, there will be a LoRa cloud platform where there is a wireless LoRa wireless communication, right? And we call there will be gateways are available initially. Sensors collect the data from each and every site wherever it is deployed, and with the help of your LoRa wireless gateway or communication, it pushes the data into the LoRa cloud platform, right?
So, but the thing is, the traffic signal lights are decentralized. It's not centralized. So,
No, see, this is a typical environment wherein really you can bring in the implementation accordingly. But a lot of research challenges are going to come in while addressing it. That's what is you're supposed to be address it, right?
okay.
Because in a situation like India, it is very difficult to go ahead with one side. It requires there'll be a lot many scenarios to be understand well, because the kind of traffic which you get from Avenue Road, the kind of traffic you get from there'll be Mysore Road or from your Elanka Road side is not going to become, there'll be unique, and you cannot have there'll be the same kind of deployment everywhere. You need to think about based on there'll be the traffic density basically, right? Even though you provide there'll be a lot of accessories to collect the data, but how efficiently you're going to collect the data is going to become the big challenging issue. That is where the research challenge is. Okay, I think you can able to understand there'll be the intensity of that, right? And you need to address it. Okay, I think I have addressed your question, right?
Yes.
Yeah, then that's an intelligent traffic management system. I think presently we are also using it, but it is not happening to the way we are looking at, right? So you may be getting presently via there will be an SMS or maybe in FM stating that don't move towards this, right? Heavy traffic is there. Then suddenly you take there will be different deviations, or else let us say you are driving your car, okay, wherein you are using there will be in GPS mode. It guide you where you're supposed to move on because there'll be heavy traffic. So this is all happening, but not to the greater extent, but this need to be happening, right? The kind of environments or scenarios which we use to address these problems makes there been huge difference, right, in the present context. And in the lastly, there is an adaptive navigation system. I think that is what is the solutions what we have it presently, and all of us right using it for our requirement as well. So when I look at this particular problem statement, I think you can write your own problem statement and you can say that this problem is already addressed. But I'm sure, right, however the problem is, because of there'll be the data complexity, okay, and the traffic which we get, right, in the present context throws you there'll be many more challenges. However you do it, right, even if you define your own scenario relating to a particular location to address that, right, that is going to become there'll be a very good research problem to all of us, right? That's what is essential. When you are trying to address this, let us say you are not supposed to take there'll be the design aspects of there'll be in USA, right, and India. That's totally different. Or you are not supposed to take there'll be design aspects of there'll be in Mysore city and there'll be in Bangalore city. So it is an entirely different. Okay, so you have to do there'll be a lot of data analysis, feasibility study, technical right understanding thoroughly, and you have to go ahead about it. I think you can look into it basically. Yeah, then next one is right, confidentiality. There is another one we have. I mean, three things are very important here. We always say that in case there'll be in security, right, CIA model is basically one we talk about there'll be in confidentiality. I think in this particular pyramid you can see at the top basically it talks about protecting data from illegal access and from there'll be a disclosure. You can just scale up this, right, according to your understanding, since you have already studied there'll be a number of right subjects relating to that. Then the second point is there'll be the integrity that is there on the right hand corner. I think already I mentioned in the very beginning of my slide itself. So it is something like that you're not supposed to lose any data, right, or you're not supposed to modify any data during your data transmission. Okay, you're not supposed to allow any unauthorized user during the process of your operations. You have to ensure there will be a number of parameters relating to this. And we are also talking about there'll be the availability, where the availability, the kind of resources which are presently available or which are deployed in a cloud pool must be available 24/7 for any end user to work upon, right, for their projects, or there is problems or services. That's where we are trying to talk about it. However, right, we say that will be available, it is 24/7, Facebook says, or Cisco says, but due to some on one or the other reasons we may not be able to get it. So what we are supposed to do it, right, that's where we are trying to talk about. There'll be a migration which is going to happen it, right, maybe one cloud platform to there'll be another cloud platform, there is a migration is going to happen it, right. This week, I mean, nowadays we call there'll be a cross-culture migration platform from one resource cloud pool to there'll be another resource cloud pool. But wherein while providing these kinds of parameters, we should also look for some right other aspects, which includes data provision, data aggregating, data sanitization, data location, right, and also we are supposed to look into there'll be how efficiently we can use there'll be cryptography algorithms which are available for encryption, decryption, right, for decryption of your data. Then the next one is software frameworks. It talks about various things, right. If you look at on the left hand side, we have key challenges, It's numerous diverse frameworks exist. Some apps resistant to heavy framework dependency, good coordination at institution level, little above that. Different tools chain used, keeping institutional identity while fostering multi-institutional collaboration. X-scale software complexity common to all applications. I mean, see the framework which we use to develop your problem solving techniques is in diverse in nature, and you're trying to use that, and you're trying to access your cloud resources. Sometimes it may not be going to work out as you look at. That's one thing. Then potential impact on software component. It focused on, there will be focus funding on reusable software frameworks, a promotion of best practices across many projects, leverage investments in common tool chains. I think, as and when you move on to work with your projects, you can understand that the kind of frameworks we use it, right? So we also called some of them are, a de facto standards, de facto in the sense which have been accepted as the best standard for their purpose. They have evolved to be accepted because of wide public support and market forces. This is often because they have proven track record for efficiency and reliability. Most of them are there been de facto standards. And even if you look at on the right hand side, the summary of there is a research direction which talks about established forums for multi-institutional discussions, define standard interface and tool chains, develop domain-specific languages and data representations, develop organizations for tool supports, develop framework capabilities to accommodate, right? Educate application based on the availability and use of the frameworks. So let me give you one example in case of, domain-specific languages. Look, we may be using, there is an English language, right, for interaction purpose to access anything. But let us say nowadays, you can also translate that, language, right, syntax and semantics into the Arabian local languages as well. But will it be possible to achieve for everything? No, it may not be possible. Why? Because the data representation for a local language may not be well defined as you are expecting it. So what I mean is there'll be many more challenges to look into it in terms of there'll be domain specific languages, as well as we can also talk about there'll be a natural language process here. Then potential impact on usability, capability, and breadth of community, which talks about how optimally reuse of high quality software tools and methodologies in applications, shortened development time for applications, rapid deployment of new or X-scale algorithms and software capabilities, enable multidisciplinary, multi-agency, multinational collaborations, and lastly, we have some impact within 2 years, but a lot many things yet to achieve it in case of these things, because the moment we talk about a multidisciplinary, multi-agency, right, and multinational collaborations, so it gives you there'll be a lot many challenges, maybe in terms of policies, in terms of laws we use it in each country, and the kind of platforms we use it from your source to the other source as well. Okay, so some kind of cross cultural issues are going to become, there'll be many more, and we need to emerge. There will be a very feasible integrated solution to address this. That is what is the need of the hour is. Then let me move on to the next one, that is in data management. I think there'll be 7 steps to understand the research challenges of there is in data management. I think you need to go through the problem statement thoroughly in the very first stage. Then secondly, we need to go ahead with the kind of the source we use it, that is the digital health big data source, which includes there is an earth science, IoT, social science, astronomy, business, industry, and others, right? And next is you need to identify there'll be various challenges which you come across during that problem, okay, which includes maybe a storage, maybe visualization, integration, architecture, security, privacy, quality, and many more things. Okay, you say being a student or being a research scholars, or maybe being there is a faculty or somebody is working on there'll be in cloud computing, as and when they take up there'll be a problem definition, then they need to go through these steps thoroughly. Then computing technology status, okay, that's the first step. You can just see on the right hand side. So where it talks about there'll be in storage management model, process, mining knowledge, discovery, parallel programming, statistical analysis, analytics and visualization, semantic approach, mobile computing and infrastructure solutions, and there'll be others. So wherein as you started that, you get there'll be a complete view and understand to going ahead with there'll be a problem implementation. Okay, that is what is the need. Then so we go ahead with status of there'll be in cloud computing for big data and its usage, right? And business what you're going to be achieve it later, or maybe the kind of diversity issues which you come across is, during the LBN process. We need to think about it, because if it's a local system, you don't have any issues, you don't bother about all these things, right? The moment we talk about the LBN cloud computing, you have to look at the scenario with respect to the LBN a global context. That is what is essential. So the moment we think about there will be a global context, right, you need to think about your scalability issue, compatibility issues, diversity issues, interoperability issues, legal issues, right, many more things. Then so we need to go ahead with the research agenda, that is a distributed data management, big data mining, risk and quality control, spatio-temporal collaborations, interdisciplinary collaborations, workflow, hybrid and exhaust, selection and pricing, sustainable education. I mean, these are all some of the research, right, problem statement you can take up, and you can proceed towards it. Okay, because since we are talking about right data everywhere, right, even if you take up your a smartphone mobile data which you're using it in a WhatsApp group itself, okay, it's going to become a huge data nowadays. Okay, so where if you dump that cloud data and you do some kind of there'll be an analytics, right, you'll get there'll be a lot of right results out of it, which may be useful for the social problem. That's where I'm trying to connect that with the social problem. A social problem are going to come across while accessing your there'll be cloud resources and a data, but how you're trying to provide there'll be a technical solution to address that problem that we need to look at. So while addressing that, okay, have you maintain there'll be trust is the key challenging issue. Okay, that you need to be interconnect or connect with your research problem. That is what is essential. And lastly, we have there'll be an innovation. Okay, this is innovation is something which you are trying to come out with new things newly. Okay, so maybe in while solving any problem, you need to find out that right discovery. Basically, that is what is essential. Maybe while doing that, you may be using your own a technology which talks about there'll be an IoT base or a database or maybe sustainability, or you may also bring in some kind of right what you call there'll be a service which is not existing as of now to address it. Okay, so in that way we need to think and provide there'll be solutions. That is what is really required. Moving further, this particular slide talks about there'll be storage technology. I think at the top you have there'll be a number of virtual machine, right, wherein in the below that we have there'll be servers, right. We are trying to create a virtual environment to ensure that right every users at the other end must able to access the storage which is available in the cloud resource pool. That is what is deployed at the bottom. I think you can just look at that. You have there'll be for storage, right. The cloud storage provides virtual storage resources without buying the physical resources. Okay, so this is what is happening presently everywhere in the market. So you need not buy your own storage, right. Let us say you are having your own lab, right. You can connect your lab right from your end to there'll be storage, or even you can just use one chunk of there'll be storage from there'll be a particular service provider, and you can store it and you can access it. You can ensure that security is going to be maintained. But the resources is not available. How you are going to access is going to become there'll be a challenging to all of us. I think I already covered up this. I'll move on to the next slide. Yeah, then you also have some other research challenges which talks about performance and cost effectiveness, which deals with storage should be fast and efficient, because unless you are not ensuring there will be fast operation and efficiency, there may be a difficulty. Then interoperability, transferring data between different data centers seamlessly, that's what is needed. Then data center and storage architecture. We need to come out, there'll be different designs relating to that. You cannot stick on to the same kind of data centers which were used conventionally earlier, because the data which was collected earlier was so less, but nowadays it is not like that. So we need to think about in that direction. Then data backup and recovery process need to be improved a lot with the existing scenario, must be in place and effective in order to prevent data loss, unwanted data overwrite, and there will be distractions as well. Then we have there been server usage and its challenges as well here. Right, if you look at in a cloud pool, maybe a 40% server power consumption is going to consume it. And secondly, you have a communications equipment energy consumption, that is nearly 5%. And energy consumptions of the LBN power supply system is 10%. Energy consumption of refrigeration system is nearly 40%. Energy consumption of there'll be storage devices, there'll be 5%. Even though I mean, this also talks about there'll be more of there'll be energy management challenges relating to a very specific area where you need to think about and work further. Having said that, you have there'll be many more research challenges in terms of there'll be available resources in the cloud pool, wherein we can categorize that into there'll be 4 types basically. One is network-based attacks, wherein we can look at the different attacks, which includes denial of service, swooping, spam, SQL injection, port scan. On the other side, we have VM attacks, VM escape, hyperjacking, VM spal, single point of failure, hypervisor vulnerabilities. And at the left-hand bottom, we have data duplication, data scavenging, data privacy and integrity, data recovery and data backup. And lastly, we have application-based attacks, that is data breaches, hijacking of account, malware injection, insecure APIs, insufficient due diligence. So in the sense that you have, there'll be a number of attacks which you get as and when you are trying to access with the cloud resources from user end via there'll be a service providers. So being a user, I need to look at how secure my data is going to become, or at the service provider, they should think about when I am giving the LBN service to my user, okay, what kind of the LBN security measures I have given it, okay, will my data is secured or not. So unless if that is not going to be secured, achieving the LBN good business, is very difficult, a task for the LBN service provider. So it may not be possible to achieve the LBN a goodwill later as and when you move on with a number of services which they want to provide it using the LBN cloud computing. Then we have the LBN research gaps in cloud security. I think I have already addressed many things. Apart from that, you can also look at some of the research gaps in terms of the LBN various aspects of it. That is, outside malicious attacks entails the result of confidential information. Attackers can leverage the help of user interface of the cloud to illegally access private data and misuse it. Okay, so that's where trust management is very essential during this kind of interactions. Data loss can occur when unauthorized parties gain access to a company's data and erase the data or leak it to the other rebels of the company. Then service disruption can be caused by various methods like fraud, phishing, and other malicious attacks by hackers. Then security implementation is not uniform across the LBN cloud infrastructure. This I was already mentioned. Then also we have to look at this in multi-tenancy, where it's an issue when the service offered by the cloud to multiple tenants are misused to leak data of other organizations. I think this is more and more you have come across presently in the newspaper also relating to multi-tenancy with respect to different countries as well. Loss of control is one. When the tenant lose control over the data stored in the cloud as they do not know the location of the data. Then availability and performance issues as the cloud, even the hard disk drive is stored at different places where user has no physical control and no idea where it is stored basically. Okay, that's the issue. In a shared spaces, data erase is not 100% sure, as data erase is just to override over existing data, so data can be recovered it. Then it poses there'll be a number of threats basically in case of the cloud security, as I mentioned, which includes abusers, violence, cheating, hacking, viruses, rumors, pornography, spam, privacy, and there'll be in copyright violations. So what I mean is, as and when you move ahead with there'll be trust management, right, with your cloud security, you need to look at these things. So as and when you look at these things, you should also connect well all these things with respect to the different types of service models which are available. That is what is your cloud architecture components is. And also we need to think about service level agreements between the providers and users. So your agreements plays there'll be a very critical role to all of us to build up the trust management with your resources, right? So presently we have there'll be trust models for there is in P2P networks and grid systems to protect clouds, and there'll be in data centers, right? But yet to many more need to come to address there'll be in various issues. Apart from that, you can also look for there'll be in some basic security enforcement. So that is data centers demands on-site security. So you can bring some biometric readers. You can deploy there'll be in CCTVs for the motion detection and man traps, a purpose. That's one thing. And you can also use there'll be an intrusion detection systems, okay, or there'll be an external firewalls to access your resources from there'll be an unauthorized users. That's what you can look for. Then vulnerability assessment, platform security demands, which includes your SSL and data decryptions algorithms. You can look into it, right? Strict password policies and system trust certifications, you can generate it as and when you are trying to access your resources, because the digital certification gives you there'll be some kind of security measures to all of you to ensure your data is protected very well. Yeah, then we have there'll be physical machines, or there'll be virtual machines, as you know that, a provisioning tool curves out the systems from there'll be cloud to satisfy the requested service, right? You can also look for there'll be how to prevent there'll be malware based attacks, right, from the networks, that is bombs, viruses, and there'll be a distributed denial of service attacks, exploit there'll be system vulnerabilities, because these are all quite common basically. But however the protection you give it, it is very difficult, right? But what is your a solution to address this? So everybody says that right now this is already addressed, this is already addressed. To what, where, how, what is the scenario? Okay, is it going to become there'll be a complete solution? So that's where the companies are also having there'll be a lot of scope to develop new algorithms in terms of there'll be in security area. Okay, and this is going to be emerged as one of the major area because of the digitalization in a global scenario. That you are supposed to be understood. I think I'll skip some of the slides here, because we talked about there'll be the identity management. That is also very essential, maybe in terms of there'll be in your IDs, or we talk about there'll be in SSO technology. When I'm talking about this is an SSO technology, there's a single sign-on. So you are trying to bring in more and more number of applications into a single application. Okay, so while doing that, many issues you are going to face it, because of there'll be a migration, because of there'll be platform issues, because of there'll be incompatibility, so many things. I think physical security, maybe in terms of there'll be each and every component we talk about a physical security with cloud computing. Yeah, personal security, you should also look into it, being a user, what kind of personal security you give it at your end. Privacy, I think you are aware of it. Okay, how well I'm going to protect my data to access the resources, you need to look for it. I'll just skip this also, cloud vulnerability and there'll be penetration testing, because most of the time it may not be possible to go ahead with there'll be micro level testing at every stage. So we may do at the abstract level if there'll be testing, to identify some of the issues which you may get with there'll be cloud resources, maybe with respect to your servers, maybe your what do you call, there'll be routers, switches, or maybe mobile phones, whatever it is. So okay, so that's where we talk about there'll be penetration testing. So the whole idea is that ensure that your resources are not going to be attacked by the external agency or maybe the unauthorized users or maybe the intruder, basically. So even if I look at there'll be a survey or maybe case studies of there'll be in different countries, you get there'll be in different versions, basically. Okay, but ensure that so your resources are going to be well protected. I think I've already explained there'll be data confidentiality. It's a repetition. I'll just skip this slide here also. Access controllability, I think you understood already. Integrity also, I'll skip this. Then you can also look for there'll be an encryption techniques to protect your data. So we say that attribute based encryption. So it is coined as an ABE here. Attribute encryption is a type of public key encryption in which the secret key of user and the ciphertext are dependent upon attributes. That's one thing. And also you can go for a decryption of the ciphertext as well. And we can go ahead with ciphertext policy ABE. Okay, that is one more algorithm in case of your encryption algorithm itself. And we can also go ahead with fully homomorphic encryption techniques. I have not given there'll be an algorithms here. Okay, so you can just explore it. These algorithms, what does really and how do we implement these algorithms, while working with security aspects of your cloud computing. So that is a fully homomorphic encryption. It allows computations on encrypted data and also allows computing sum and product for the encrypted data without decryption. That's one thing. And searchable encryption. So it is a cryptographic system which offers secure search functions over there'll be an encrypted data, wherein it has two categories. One is searchable encryption based on secret key, and also SE based on public key cryptography as well. You can use these things for there'll be a multi-mode access of your cloud pool resources, not only in case of there'll be an routers, or maybe it is applicable to all the devices. So when it comes to a cloud security, if you look at your cloud service model, on there'll be the left hand side, at the inner layer you have there'll be an IaaS, in the middle we have there'll be an PaaS, and we have there'll be an SaaS at the top. I think you can easily understand that, where the cloud service models on the left, which gives you there'll be an corresponding security measures, whereas on the IaaS is at the innermost level, the PaaS is at the middle level, and SaaS is the outermost level, which includes there'll be an all hardware, software, datasets, and networking resources as well, and corresponding functionality, what each service model does with this model. Cloud service model is well defined with the functionality. I think you already understood that, I guess. Let me move on to the element cloud security and trust management. Okay, I think trust management is very essential to protect your data. That is what is my say to all of you, is that okay, maybe to prevent from any kind of attacks. Okay, so maybe disruption and DOS attacks, theft, corruption, and there'll be natural disasters, whatever it's so. Okay, let me move on to the next one, wherein we have a traditional networks, where we have an issues with respect to buffer overflows, DOS attacks, spyware, malware, rootkits, Trojan horses, and there'll be worms. So these are all related to traditional networks. Whereas in case of there is a cloud environment, we have many more apart from those, which includes hypervisor malware, because there'll be a migration, guest hopping, hijacking, man in the middle attack, or VM, rootkits, Maybe some of them are passive attacks, some of them are going to become, there'll be an active attacks, but we need to address both. Yeah, then, we need some kind of, there'll be defense methods, to build there'll be trust management. That's what is my say to all of you is here. Okay, I'll just go to the last, two statements what I have made here. So trust negation is often done at the SLA level. Public key infrastructure services could be augmented with a data center reputation system. What I'm trying to convey to all of you is that you want to build a trust management. You require a defense method where the defense method required, some kind of reputation model. Okay, so that is what is right. Important aspect we are supposed to look at, because unless data center reputations models are available, when I'm talking about a reputation model which should be acceptable by everyone, okay, that's what is needed. Yeah, I think to go ahead with these, reputation model, you can also look for there'll be in protection schemes, right? This is categorized into there'll be in 8 schemes basically. You can look at on the left hand side, that is secure data centers and computer buildings. Okay, what kind of security you give it? Use redundant utilities at multiple sites. I have mentioned there'll be a deployment, functionalities as well on the right hand side. Then trust delegation and negotiation, worm containment, and there'll be a distributed denial of service attack defense, reputation systems for data centers, fine-grained file access control, copyright protection and piracy prevention, and lastly we have the privacy protection. So to build your trust, you need to go ahead with these protection schemes, and you have to deploy them appropriately with these parameters. Definitely you can achieve there'll be better results. So again, defense is very much required in case of there'll be virtualization, whether you use there'll be 2 station or 3 station, or there'll be multiple station. So because as and when you move on with number of VMs, obviously some issues you're going to be face it, that we need to be protected with there'll be privacy and there'll be copyright protections as well. So all these details are available to all of you here. Yeah, this is the another important security structure coordinated by a security gateway plus external firewalls to safeguard the access of there'll be in public or there'll be in private clouds. I think you can just look at the kind of technologies what we use on the left hand side, HTTP, GMS, SQL, and you can add up. It is not just limited to only these 3 technologies basically, right? So on the middle you have there'll be a gateway. Okay, so where the moment you are trying to access there'll be cloud resources which are deployed at the top. Okay, so it goes through there'll be a gateway, right? And where you're providing there'll be all kinds of there'll be security measures, right? Maybe at the service provider side, or it may be at the gateway side, or maybe at your own level as well. Okay, I think these kinds of there'll be modules are very essential. Yeah, I think I've explained this in this particular slide. I'll just skip this, right? I think you can also look for there'll be some kind of distributed intrusion and anomaly detection. With this, you can do it using there'll be signature matching, and there'll be an IDS technology as well. Yeah, this is where defense against distributed denial of service flooding attacks which are available. So where from every corner of this particular network model, right, network traffic flooding is occurring. It is going to become there'll be an malicious attack that you can observe it at router or not in this particular diagram. So you can write there will be a corresponding there'll be tree structure to address that. So once you have any kind of there'll be a network model with the traffic intensity, it may not be very easy as and when you use there'll be more and more number of networks, but you can really understand by using there'll be very specific simulation tools which are presently available in the market to address that. So as a result of that, you can just write there'll be an attack traffic flow tree for your network model. This is for 10 routers, right, which is there on the left hand side here. Yeah, I think this is what I have explained already. And we have there'll be the data integrity, and there'll be privacy protection with respect to the man in the middle attack. So that's where as and when the migration happens from there'll be an A to B, right, man in the middle attack may happen it for accessing there'll be an your data. You should be very careful. Okay, so this is quite common, but security measure is very much essential with the data integrity, and there'll be privacy right protection. Yeah, this is where I'm trying to talk about it. You can look for, there'll be different application software, right? Maybe MapReduce, Bigtable, EC2, 3S, Adobe, AWS, GAE, and there'll be WebSphere 2. I mean, not limited to only these things, and you can also look for some other technologies as well as for your prerequisites, understanding company requirement, organization requirements, okay, and how I can do there will be a good business out of it later to sell my product. Okay, that is also very essential. Then also you can go ahead with, there'll be data coloring, and there'll be a cloud watermarking here. Okay, so the moment you use, there'll be data coloring, and there'll be cloud watermarking. Definitely you can achieve, there'll be right, or avoid there'll be conflicts. You can also look at you can use color marking for data owner negotiations, right, as well as there'll be service providers. So on the left hand side, you're trying to assign, there'll be the colors. The colors are going to be forwarded, and it is going to be colored, and it is going to be stored in case of there'll be virtual storage. And these colors are going to be decoloring it later to access it back. As a result of that, once the color is going to be matched, right, the confirmation is going to be authenticated. As a result, there won't be any issues. Okay, so this is the present trend, what we have it in the market, and because of this, many things you can easily reduce it in terms of there'll be security aspects of there'll be cloud computing. I think that's what I have already told you. I'll just skip this, right? Then reputation guided protections, there'll be data centers. This is what is required. Reputation is a more objective and often relies in a large opinion aggregation process to evaluate. Reputation may change or decay over time. And this not only in case of there'll be technology aspects of cloud computing. This is also with respect to a personal interaction with anyone, right, or maybe in any organizations as well. Okay, but we need to sustain that further to go ahead with business models as well. Yeah, this is what is the reputation systems. We have a centralized and there'll be distribution, wherein centralized is very simple to design, centralized control, easy to implement it, right? So monitoring is also becomes, there'll be very easy using, there'll be centralized, because there'll be a single point of failure may happen. That's the point which you face it. Whereas in case of there is a distributed, it's just a contrary to that, right? Very hard to build, right? Then cost is also going to become, there'll be more, because you need to be deployed, there'll be your resources, right, at various locations. Okay, and it is not with centralized monitoring. That is the issues, wherein we have, there is an user oriented and data center based, right? And some of the user oriented and data center based service providers names are available here. You can keep on adding the list into each case. Okay, that's not only two. And similarly, it happens in case of they'll be distributed. So many of them, they won't venture into the case of they'll be distributed, because they need to invest. There'll be huge money initially, right? Only there will be very big corporates, gains are going to venture into this business. But centralized is going to be affordable to everyone, and everybody is going to use it to the greater extent, because of there'll be a full control over whatever they do it. Okay, that is the best part in case there'll be centralized reputation systems. That's what I've already talked about it. So then we have some of the design options in case of there'll be a reputation system. So ultimately, you want to achieve there'll be in quality, right? So what kind of design aspects you're supposed to be use it? You have to look at basically. So that may be a privacy, or maybe in copyright. Then you can also look for there'll be the kind of what do you call, there'll be software frameworks which you use it to build these reputation systems are very essential. Yeah, this is we also talk about there'll be RPOs in case of reputation system. RPO talks about there'll be a recovery point, objective point. This is a very essential point. Basically, when I'm talking about recovery, point objective. So the moment you come out of it, obviously you're available, your resources are available to provide them with the services to the end users. Okay, that's one thing. And also we have there'll be two things. One is in coarse grind and there'll be in fine grained access. The coarse grind access talks about there'll be in how right you are accessing. There'll be in larger size of there'll be the components. Maybe in terms of there'll be in physical locality we talk about, or maybe data centers accessibility, these things. But the moment we talk about a fine grained access control, which talks about there'll be each and every small subcomponents which are deployed in a cloud resource pool, maybe workstation, server, routers, switches, whatever it's so. Okay, so these things you need to be built very well and come out with there'll be a good kind of there'll be security measurements. Yeah, this is the solution for that. Basically, we call this is going to become there'll be trust overlay networks, right? So the trust overlay network is designed and developed using there'll be distributed hash table, okay, wherein you have there'll be an n number of data, right, where you have there'll be a hash function, and the corresponding key is going to be generated with there'll be a hash function, right, and that key is going to be given to there'll be a network, or there'll be the users to access their data resources. As a result of that, there won't be any issues relating to that. That's one thing. And also, the moment you use there'll be an distributed host, that's a trust overlay networks, you can go for with cloud resources sites, and there'll be the data centers along with that, kind of multidisciplinary or cross culture cloud environment communication happens. Okay, it also take care of the issues whatever we have addressed so far, but it's very difficult to say that all the issues were addressed. No, it's not at all. You have there'll be many more to look into it. Yeah, this is where the trust overlay networks, I think I've already told you regarding that. I'll just skip this. Okay, finally, we have there'll be a model for there'll be delivering service. I think all of you are already aware of it, this service model. Okay, you have infrastructure, you have a platform, you have there'll be a software as a service at the top. This is what we talk about. There'll be the cloud, computing architecture overall. But as and when we are pushing our data into this service, these service models, how efficiently my data is secured at different levels is really challenging to all of us. That's where so being faculty, student, research scholars, or maybe industry guys, they need to think about there'll be how strong security measures we need to provide for our services. Okay, lastly, we have there'll be dimensions, or it is some kind of there'll be conclusion. Basically, the cloud security trend is applied virtualization support for security enforcement in data centers. In the long run, a new security as a service is designed. The SaaS is crucial to the universal acceptance of web-scale cloud computing in personal, business, community, and government applications. Internet clouds are certainly in line with IT globalization and efficient computing outsourcing. Interoperability among different clouds relies on a common operational standard by building a healthy cloud ecosystem. Trust models are proposed for cloud computing and e-commerce applications. This you need to enhance it basically. Then, a global cloud computing bed called OpenServe was reported, and some cloud simulators, CloudSim is available from the University of Melbourne now to explore many variants of virtualization and load balancing of shared resources. Then pros and cons of cloud computing coexist in the service industry. Need to think about it. Then, in general, it is recommended that information security controls be selected and implemented according and in proportion to the risk, typically by assessing the threats, vulnerabilities, and impacts. Then, cloud security concerns can be grouped in various ways. Maybe Gartner named 7, while the cloud security aligns it as 12 areas of the concerns. Again, it varies. We need not worry about those things. But what is the ultimate solutions? We need to look at and you have to fix the problem, what really we are getting it. Then cloud access security brokers are softwares that sits between the cloud users and cloud applications to provide visibility into cloud application usage, data protection, and governance. To monitor all activity and enforce security policies is very much essential. So with this, I'm concluding my talk. Thank you, one, for you're listening, right? If you have any questions, I'm ready to take it, right, from your end. Over to organizers.
Thank you so much, sir. So, participants, if you have any questions, you can unmute and ask to sir, or you can directly put it in the chat box.
If you have any questions, you can read out from the chat box. I'll try to answer it. Thank you for the opportunity for the organizers to share some of my few thoughts on research challenges, right? In cloud security and trust management. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Okay, sir. I don't think there are any questions from the participants. So, over to Varsha. You can conclude the meeting.
Yeah, thanks, Shriyari. So thank you, sir. That was an amazing session, and also for providing us with such valuable insights on the research challenges in the cloud computing and trust management. And I also thank Anjan sir as well as ma'am for even organizing this event. I would request the participants to fill up the feedback form that is provided in the group. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, my special thanks to Dr. Anjan sir and Dr. Sunanda madam. Okay, and also extend my thanks to IEEE CSE chapter Bangalore, because we are presently IEEE Exicom chapter member for this year. I was a member for last year also. Okay, because of the Exicom member utilize this opportunity. Thank you one and all. Okay, can I exit from the meeting now?